Harihi Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Yate Namah Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityormamritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, who came to establish universal religion, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Today's topic I have chosen from the Gospel, the 5 commandments of Sri Ramakrishna. How specifically Sri Ramakrishna has pointed out that if we really follow meticulously these 5 commands of Sri Ramakrishna, we will be certainly able to make progress in spiritual life, as well as we will be able to achieve the goal of realizing God. So the first of the 5 commandments: repeat God's name and sing His glories. Second, keep holy company and now and then visit the devotees of God and holy men. The mind cannot dwell on God if it is immersed day and night in worldliness, in worldly duties and responsibilities. Thirdly, it is most necessary to go into solitude now and then and think of God. To fix the mind on God is very difficult in the beginning, unless one practices meditation in solitude. When a tree is young, it should be fenced all around, otherwise it may be destroyed by cattle. To meditate, you should withdraw within yourself, or retire to a secluded corner or to the forest. The 4th commandment, Sri Ramakrishna says, you should always discriminate between the real and the unreal. God alone is real, the eternal substance. All else is unreal, that is, impermanent. By discriminating thus, one should shake off impermanent objects from the mind. The 5th commandment is, do all your duties, but keep your mind on God. Live with all, with wife and children, father and mother, and serve them. Treat them as if they were very dear to you, but know in your heart of hearts that they do not belong to you. These were told by Sri Ramakrishna to Master Mahashaya. On his second visit, M received these 5 commandments from Sri Ramakrishna. M practiced them to perfection all his life and taught them to devotees who used to visit him. His house was in Calcutta. People would go and see him. He was full of Sri Ramakrishna. Always he would talk about Sri Ramakrishna. These 5 commandments are of supreme importance for those who wish to progress in spiritual life. All aspirants, especially the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, must remember and assess their spiritual progress in the light of these commandments. If followed faithfully, they are sure to lead to the highest realization. To the extent the devotees are able to practice them, to that extent they are progressing in the realm of God. The first of these commandments is to repeat God's name and sing His glories. Very easy. At the same time, very effective. It makes revolutionary change in one's personality. But one should do it properly, then only you will have the desired result. Religious lore is replete with the praises of the power and glory of God's name. Of all the spiritual practices, taking the name of God is the easiest. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a prophet, an incarnation, preached the glory of God's name. Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, and the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna all have unequivocally emphasized the need for repetition of the name of God. A host of saints all over the world have advocated repeating the name of God. Many became saints solely through the repetition of God's name. The name and the named are one. God and His name are one. That's why when you repeat God's name, you must repeat the name with so much of reverence, love, and devotion. Sri Ramakrishna said, God and His name are identical. That's the reason Radha said that. There is no difference between Rama and His holy name. The name of God purifies and uplifts one who takes it. It washes away all sins and impurities. Indeed, there are devotees who maintain that the name of God is even greater than God Himself. Through the power of God's name, one can reach the highest realization. Throughout his life, Sri Ramakrishna himself repeated the name of his sweet divine mother even after attaining Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So there is tremendous significance in doing japa. It is very effective, sure method of purifying the mind and going towards God. Sri Jagadananda Pandit, a Vaishnava saint, he wrote in a verse a book called Prema Vivarta on the glory of divine love. where the Pandit distinguishes different methods of taking God's name, uttering, repeating, chanting, and singing. But the best practice, he says, is singing the divine name. For that requires the services of many sense organs. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami recognizes 64 forms of devotion. Of these, there are 5 main forms. They are: 1. Keeping the company of devotees. 2. Singing the divine name. 3. Hearing the scriptures. 4. Staying in a holy place and serving the deity with devotion. According to Vaishnava tradition, the important sadhanas are 3: kindness to all beings, taste for God's name, and service to fellow devotees. Chaitanya Charitamrita considers the chanting of the divine name as the best way of promoting devotion. God's name is within the reach of all. Even illiterate people can attain God by the power of his name. Amongst the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, there was a lonely widow known as Gopala's mother, who lived in a room beside the Ganges and spent her time in repeating the name of Gopala. Her lifelong remembrance of God was rewarded in old age by the constant vision of Gopala, the divine child, who lived with her night and day for 2 months. She is to this day loved and honored by the disciples and devotees of Sri Ramakrishna order. The glory of the divine name bears no comparison. As the Adi Purana puts it, there is no knowledge like name, woe like name, no meditation like name, no fruit like name. Adi Purana says. Chanting of the Lord's name does not go in vain. It must bear its benign result. It is like the philosopher's stone, converting all baser metal into gold. It is like the magic wand of the magician, performing unbelievable and unthought of miracles. It transforms man's life forever. Name is both the means and the end. To take God's name lovingly and to see him are the same. To the votary of the divine name, it manifests itself as a form, quality, and sport of the Lord. The form of the Lord is identical with his name. Devotees say the name is even greater than form. Evidences of this can be seen in the lives of Sri Rama and Sri Krishna. While Sri Rama had to construct a bridge to cross the ocean, Hanuman crossed it with the strength of Rama's name. When Sri Krishna was put on the balance against his name written on a tulsi leaf, he was found to be lighter. The essence of all scriptures is God's name. Once a sadhu who had a remarkable faith in the name of God came to Dakshineshwar. He carried with him a book in which the solitary word Om Rama was written in big letters in red ink. He worshipped this book daily with flowers and sometimes opened and read it. Sri Ramakrishna became curious to know what was written in the book. The monk showed him the book and said to him, "What's the use of reading a large number of books? For it is from the one divine Lord that the Vedas and Puranas have come. He and his name are not separate. That's why his name is my only companion. Sri Ramakrishna himself was a great advocate of using the name of God. He said, chant his name and purify your body and mind. Purify your tongue by singing God's holy name. Sri Sharda Devi said, the mantra purifies the body. Man becomes pure by repeating the mantra of God. The human teacher utters the mantra into the ear, but God breathes the spirit into the soul. These are the words of Mother. As wind removes the cloud, so the name of God destroys the cloud of worldliness. Once a devotee showed to Holy Mother a tiny banyan seed and said to her, look, Mother, it is tinier even than the tiniest seed. We know. From this will spring a giant tree. How strange. Indeed, it will, Mother replied. See what a tiny seed is the name of God. From it, in time come divine moods, devotion, love, and spiritual consummation. Very powerful indeed is the Lord's name. It may not bring about an immediate result, but it must one day bear fruit, just as we find that a seed left long ago on the cornice of a building at last reaches the ground, germinates, grows into a tree, and bears fruit, perhaps when the building cracks and is demolished. Knowingly or unknowingly, consciously or unconsciously, in whatever state of mind a person utters God's name, he acquires the merit of such utterance. A man who voluntarily goes to a river and bathes therein gets the benefit of the bath. So does him also who has been pushed into the water by another, or who, when sleeping soundly, has water thrown upon him. There is a great power in the seed of God's name. It destroys ignorance. The seed is tender and the sprout soft. Still, it pierces the hard ground. The ground breaks and makes way for the sprout. The best thing for people whose minds are attracted by sense objects is to cultivate the dualistic attitude and chant loudly the name of the Lord as mentioned in Narada Pancharatra. It's a work on devotion. Through the path of devotion, the subtle senses come readily and naturally under control. Carnal pleasures become more and more insipid as divine love grows in your heart. How to love God and surrender to Him whom we have never seen is a question that often arises in our mind. To some such query of a devotee, Swami Adbhutananda, one of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, replied, it doesn't matter if you do not know Him. You know His name. Just take His name and you will progress spiritually. What do they do in an office? Without having seen or known the officer, one sends an application addressed to his name. Similarly, send your application to God and you will receive His grace. How nicely Swami has explained. The answer was characteristic of Swami Adbhutananda. Temperamentally, a man of simplicity and faith. Through a simple answer, it satisfied the inquirer, for it carried the strength that is in the words of a man of realization. This assertion of the Swami, however, is corroborated by the scriptures, where the divine name has been considered identical with the deity it signifies. It is not merely a combination of letters, it is both the means and the goal. Words, especially the syllable Om, have been designated as Brahman by the Vedas. All scriptures glory holy names. Every religious discipline prescribes the name of God for repetition. Its efficacy is recognized by all faiths. Theistic religions specially recommend it to their votaries. In Hinduism, even the Advaita system of philosophy, which does not recognize the ultimate separate existence of a personal God, appreciates the value of the repetition of God's names as a purifying act. In the theistic faiths, however, its place is significantly important. Of all the systems, it is the Vaishnava school of Sri Chaitanya which has laid particular stress on the divine name and has raised its repetition to the status of an independent spiritual practice. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the founder of Bengali Vaishnavism, has himself composed a few verses singing the glory of the name, which forms a cardinal doctrine of his system. In the first verse of his Shiksha-Ashtaka, he speaks about the nature of name and the efficacy of its repetition. In fact, we are chanting this every Tuesday class at the conclusion of the program. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said in that Shiksha-Ashtakam, chant the name of the Lord and his glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean, and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name, streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, chanting his name continually, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name, that bath for weary souls. He also says that the Lord's name is to be always sung by one who is humbler than even a blade of grass, with more endurance than that of a tree, and who, being himself devoid of conceit, bestows honor on others. Man seeks refuge in God's name also when he is confronted with difficult situations or involved in crisis. Innumerable stories are extant which go to illustrate this fact. When they are in trouble, they think of God automatically. When Draupadi was being subjected to insult and humiliation in the court of the Kauravas, it was Lord Krishna's name that saved her honor. When Radha, the cowherdess of Vrindavan, was asked as a test of her chastity to bring water in a multi-holed pitcher, it was with the name of the Lord that she came off more glorious than ever out of this fiery ordeal. The great hero of the Ramayana, whom Tulsidas calls the jewel in the great garland of Ramayana, Hanuman, he crossed the ocean to Lanka by merely taking the name of Rama. Though it is said that chanting or repeating the name of God is enough, it must be understood rightly. Undoubtedly, there is an inherent power in the name of God. Even if one chants it mechanically, it will save one in course of time. In fact, many aspirants do japa only mechanically. There is little or no intensity or feeling in it. That's why little progress is seen in their lives. Concerning this, a great poet, Saint Kabir, has warned us against the complacency and self-satisfaction that may be indulged in by the mere mechanical repetition of the name. He says, the remembrance of God is not achieved by the revolving of beads in the hand, by the rolling of the tongue in the mouth, or by the wandering of the mind in all quarters. Yet, there is hope even for those who take God's name mechanically. Once a disciple asked, Holy Mother, Mother, is it of any use to be merely repeating his name without intense devotion? Mother replied, whether you jump into water or pushed into it, your clothes will get drenched. Is it not so? Repeat the name of God, whether your mind is concentrated or not. It will be good for you if you can repeat the name of God for a fixed number of times daily. However, it will be far more profitable if one chants the name of God with faith, love and longing, Sri Ramakrishna emphasizes intense yearning. Goswami, he said, "Sir, the chanting of God's name is enough. The scriptures emphasize the sanctity of God's name for the Kali Yuga." Master said, "Yes, there is no doubt about the sanctity of God's name. But can a mere name achieve anything without the yearning love of the devotion behind it? One should feel great restlessness of soul for the vision of God. Suppose a man repeats the name of God mechanically while his mind is absorbed in lust and gold. Can he achieve anything? Therefore I say, chant the name of God, and with it pray to Him that you may have love for Him. Pray to God that your attachment to such transitory things as wealth, name, and creature comforts may become less and less every day." The scriptures and saints tell us that there is a tremendous joy in God's name, for God is of the nature of bliss. He is Chidananda. A beginner, however, does not experience any joy. On the contrary, he may feel only dryness. It is not the fault of God's name. The fault lies in the mind of the devotee. As long as the mind has not turned away from worldly delights, it is not possible to taste divine bliss. One must try to develop discrimination and dispassion for the world. Only when the mind is purified of worldly dross does one begin to taste the joy of divine name. One must pray to God with yearning for getting rid of desires and for getting delight in His name. Devotee asked the question, "How can I take delight in God's name?" Sri Ramakrishna said, "Pray to God with a yearning heart that you may take delight in His name. He will certainly fulfill your heart's desire." So saying, Sri Ramakrishna sang a song in his sweet voice, pleading with the Divine Mother to show her grace to suffering men. Then he said, "Even for Thy holy name I have no taste." A typhoid patient has very little chance of recovery if he loses all taste for food, but his life need not be despaired of if he enjoys the food even a little. That's why one should cultivate a taste for God's name. Any name will do, Durga, Krishna, Shiva. Then, if through the chanting of the name, one's attachment to God grows day by day and joy fills the soul, one has nothing to fear. The delirium will certainly disappear. The grace of God will certainly descend. Utmost caution and guidance are required to chant the name effectively. When one chants it with due regard and propriety, said Swami Vivekananda once, one can have both devotion and knowledge through it. We have to impress on our minds that purity of thought and sincerity of purpose are the essential conditions one has to achieve and develop in the religious life of it. In the religious life, if it is to be expeditiously fruitful. An aspirant must practice self-control. He has to avoid all slips in ethical life and should live a life of discipline. These are the sine qua non of the higher life. And it is well known that nothing will happen if spiritual disciplines are practiced perfunctorily. When that purity of purpose and sincerity in sadhana is achieved, and when one tries to secret and in solitude and with single-minded devotion to repeat the name of God, his vision will come and the devotee will get absorbed in him. This chanting of God's name must form as regular habit. Sri Ramakrishna says, and one must always chant the name and glories of God and pray to Him. An old metal part must be scrubbed every day. What's the use of cleaning it only once? Further, one must practice discrimination and renunciation. One must be conscious of the unreality of the world. One should constantly repeat the name of God. The name of God is highly effective in the Kali Yuga. The practice of yoga is not possible in this age. For the life of a man depends on food. Clap your hands while repeating God's name, and the birds of your sin will fly away. Sri Ramakrishna said. A devotee asked, Holy Mother, Mother, what's the secret? Holy Mother pointed to a small clock in a nick and said, as the timepiece is ticking, so also go on repeating God's name. That will bring you everything. Nothing more need to be done. While performing japa, take the name of God with utmost love, sincerity and self-surrender. Before commencing your meditation daily, first think of your utter helplessness in this world and then slowly begin the practice of sadhana as directed by your Guru. Sri Ramakrishna said, ecstatic devotion develops in taking the name of the Lord. Eyes overflow tears of joy, words are choked in the mouth, and all the hairs of the body stand erect, thrilled with joy. Devotee said, but I do not find delight in his name. Sri Ramakrishna said, then pray with a yearning heart that he may teach you to relish his name. Undoubtedly, he will grant your prayer. I say, find joy in his name. Durga, Krishna, Shiva, any name will do. And if you daily feel a greater attraction for taking his name and a greater joy in it, you need fear no more. The delirium must get cured and his grace will surely descend on you. Japa means repeating the name of the Lord silently, sitting in a quiet place. If one continues the repetition with concentration and devotion, one is sure to be blessed with divine visions ultimately. One is sure to have God realization. Suppose a big log of wood is immersed in the Ganges with one end attached to a chain which is fixed on the bank. Following the chain link by link, you can gradually dive into the water and trace your way to it. In the same manner, if you become absorbed in the repetition of his holy name, you will eventually realize him. According to Vaishnavism, the divine name must be taken without committing 10 faults. What are those 10 faults? It says, 1. Disparaging genuine devotees. Regarding God as absolutely different from his names, forms, qualities, etc. Showing disrespect for one's spiritual preceptor. Speaking too lightly or contemptuously of the sacred scriptures. Considering the glory of the divine name mentioned in the scriptures as mere eulogy. Considering the divine name as imaginary. Committing sins repeatedly and intentionally on the strength of the divine name. Regarding the repetition of the divine name as equal to other spiritual practices. Imparting it to unworthy persons. And lastly, wanting taste for the chanting or hearing of the divine name, even after listening to its excellences. These faults, however, will be rectified by chanting the divine name itself. As Padma Purana puts it, the sins of those who commit offense to the divine name is remedied by the name alone, and it bears the desired fruit if taken constantly. If one chants the name of God sincerely with faith, feeling and yearning, and takes care to avoid the faults mentioned just now, one is sure to progress in spiritual life, obtain God's grace, and attain him in time. So, these 5 commandments, let us try to remember and follow them in life. That is called spiritual life. Once you take the spiritual idea, apply your mind wholeheartedly, and practice it with utmost devotion and faith, everything will be set right by God. Everything will become okay. So, let us have this faith, let us build up faith and love and devotion by constantly chanting God's name, singing God's name. That's called bhajan. That's why bhajan has got great importance. Doing bhajan, you come closer to God. It makes concentration easy. So let us try to follow sincerely. 856. It was Thursday evening, a few days after the Durga Puja. Sri Ramakrishna sat on his bed in his room on the second floor with Dr. Sarkar, Ishan and other devotees. Although Dr. Sarkar was a very busy physician, he would spend a long time, sometimes 6 or 7 hours, in Sri Ramakrishna's company. He had great love for the master and looked on the devotees as his own kith and kin. A lamp was burning in the room. Moonlight illumined the outside world. Addressing Ishan, a householder devotee, the master said, "Blessed indeed is the householder who performs his duties in the world and at the same time cherishing love for the lotus feet of God. He is indeed a hero. He is like a man who carries a heavy load of 2 mounts on his head and at the same time watches a bridal procession. One cannot lead such a life without great spiritual power. Again, such a man is like the mud fish, which lives in the mud but is not stained by it. Further, such a householder may be compared to a waterfowl. It is constantly diving underwater, yet by fluttering its wings only once, it shakes off all trace of water, all trace of wet. But a man must practice some spiritual discipline in order to be able to lead a detached life in the world. It is necessary for him to spend some time in solitude, be it a year, 6 months, 3 months, or even 1 month. In that solitude, he should fix his mind on God and pray with a longing heart for love of God. He should also say to himself, there is nobody in this world who is my own. Those whom I call my own are here only for 2 days. God alone is my own. He alone is my all in all. Alas, how shall I realize him? One can live in the world after acquiring love of God. It is like breaking the jackfruit after rubbing your hands with oil. The sticky juice of the fruit will not smear them. The world is like water and the mind like milk. If you put milk in water, it will mix with water. But first keep the milk in a quiet place and let it turn into curd. Then from the curd extract butter. That butter you may keep in water. It will not mix with the water, but will float on it. Some members of the Brahma Samaj said to me, Sir, our attitude towards the world is that of a King Janaka. Like him, we want to enjoy the world in a detached spirit. I said to them, to live in the world in a detached spirit is very difficult. By merely saying you cannot be a King Janaka, how much austerity Janaka practiced, how long he remained in one posture, with head down and feet up. You don't have to practice these extreme disciplines, but you need sadhana. You should live in solitude. You may lead the life of a householder after having attained divine knowledge and love in solitude. Milk turns into curd only when it is not disturbed. The curd does not set if the milk is often moved from place to place or is too much disturbed. On account of his detachment from the world, Janaka was also known as the Videha, that is one free from consciousness of the body. Though living in the world, he moved about as a Jivan Mukta, a free soul living in a body. But for most people, freedom from body consciousness is something very far off. Intense spiritual discipline is necessary. Janaka was a great hero. He fenced with 2 swords, the one of knowledge and the other of work. You may ask, is there any difference between realizations of 2 jnanis, one a householder and the other a monk? The reply is that the 2 belong to one class. Both of them are jnanis. They have the same experience, but a householder jnani has reason to fear. He cannot altogether get rid of his fear as long as he is to live in the midst of lust and gold. If you constantly live in a room full of soot, you are sure to soil your body, be it ever so little, no matter how clever you may be. After extracting the butter, if you keep it in a new pot, then there is no chance of its getting spoiled. But if you keep the butter in a pot where curd has been kept, well, then it is doubtful whether it will keep its flavor. Let us stop here. Any question? Lots of spiritual ideas are given in the gospel. It's nice to read and follow. All the methods are given. Various methods. Whatever that suits you can take. And chanting of name, singing bhajan is the easiest method. Bhajanananda, by doing constant prayer, you get bliss out of that. It is true. Any question? Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Own name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.